什么是 hedging language？ 其实你每天都会用得到，但你知道该在什么情况用吗？该在什么情况要避免吗？那今天就让我们来探讨 the usage of hedging language。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast。我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. Today, we might just possibly give you a topic that perhaps you have heard about or thought about, but in our experience, it's suggested that it's a really important thing.
Oh, God.
And that is hedging language.
That's right. Hedging language 到底是什么意思呢？那中文呢，我来稍微解释一下，它其实就是一些所谓的用字跟语言，它可能是片语，它可能是一些单字。那它的作用就是不让你好像把话说的那么的直接或那么的饱满，让你有一个空间。So those are the hedging language. And I think we kind of mentioned something like this back when we were doing episode 128, 在单元第128集的时候，我们有讲到你要怎么样不要太直接的去，比如说你可能要做一些 criticism 或一些不是非常开心的一些 news， 你要分享给人家的时候，你要怎么样能够让这个不要那么的痛。那个时候我们就是加了这些所谓的hedging language.Yeah,
hedging language often gets used a lot as a way to show hesitation or uncertainty, or there's definite times where people will use hedging language to actually show that there's a possibility for an opposite point of view, or even to be polite.
Yeah.
As you were talking about before, is if I'm giving someone really bad news or devastating news, I want to soften that blow a little bit.So instead of be like, you have ruined this company's reputation. We will never come out of it. I can't believe that you failed this project. Very direct.
Yes.
But if it's like, yes, there's some possibility that our company's reputation may take a hit and maybe there's going to be some consequences, but I think we can come back from that.Same core message.
Yeah.
Reputation's taken a hit. There's going to be some consequences going to be bad. But just by using hedging language or downgraders, you're trying to soften that blow. Now, the reason we want to do this episode is because most of the time when you read online, people are like, don't use downgraders. Don't use hedging language. It's not good English. But the reality is there's two sides of this. There are moments where hedging language can be very powerful, and you will see it in certain professions. Doctors, lawyers, academics tend to use hedging language a lot. But there are instances where you really want to avoid that when, for example, you want to be inspiring, you want to show confidence, you want to show leadership to a team. You will try to avoid these.
那我这边给大家分享一些我们所谓的 hedging language。我们最常听到的就是kind of, sort of, maybe, slightly, possibly, perhaps， 或甚至像 I was wondering if it's okay， 像这些都是我们所谓的 hedging language， 这些 downgraders。那 again， 刚刚 Nick 有讲嘛，我们到底什么时候用呢？就是你如果不想要那么直接，你不想讲的那么饱满，可能你的工作的需要，比如说你是医生，你是律师，你是学术界的人士，你不能够讲的那么100%的这么饱满，那你就必须要用到这些 hedging language。What are the hedging language that these academia?
Yeah, in academia or research, you see hedging language a lot.
Yeah.
So if you've ever gone to the conclusion section, you would assume like they have all their data, they have their graphs, they've shown their experiment that they would be very this is the thing that we have learned. But because in academia, you always have to assume the possibility for another side, that your research is incomplete, that there's more research can be done. You very often hear things like, our research suggests that, or the results suggest. Like suggest is a word, or
That's very interesting.
Yeah, appear to be. It appears in our research that something like this, or indicated. Our numbers indicate. It's not if you say our numbers show or our numbers prove. That's very deterministic. That is the way it is. But they always kind of use this idea that there's potentially more. So they use hedging language a lot. You'll also see this a lot in legal arguments. Legal arguments use hedging language all the time.
Yeah.
Past cases suggest that this is, how we determine this. All the evidence suggests this is the outcome.
So you kind of realize that they hardly ever use the word I think, I believe, right? 通常不太会讲到这些字. It's always about the past experience suggests or the research indicates that, right?
And anytime that you get into academia, legal terms, or we talked about medical doctors before, is because there's a legal element to that.
Yeah.
If a lawyer or a doctor outright says, this is the diagnosis, this is the problem, if that's not the case, if something was done incorrectly, then they get sued. Or in a lawyer's case, they end up with a really bad reputation because you promised me I'm going to win, blah, blah, blah. So these professions are experts at using hedging language.
没错。如果您是律师、是医师的话，你应该非常了解这种心情。你必须在用字上要非常的小心，你不能够讲一些你好像100%的话。如果你没有那么的确定的话，你真的没有办法 talk about something with 100% certainty. So again, 我们在这些情况之下，我们就必须要用这个所谓的 hedging language. When do you actually not or avoid using the hedging language?
So as you said, hedging language is used in a time of uncertainty. So anytime that you actually want to show confidence, you want to show inspiration, or you want to show certainty, this is where you should really drop the hedging language.
I think it's really interesting you mentioned inspiration. 因为我发现在所有这种 inspiring speech 里面，你听到很多总统啊、候选人，他们都会有这些 they have a lot of speeches give to the public. 他们的语言里面真的都是有完全100%那种 confidence 在里面。
Yeah, and the word choice matters a lot, that confidence or inspiration. You mentioned like politics or like presidential speeches. Think of most presidents' campaign slogan. Imagine if Donald Trump make America great again. It's very direct. It's very straightforward. Imagine if he was like, possibly make America sort of great again. Right? The moment that you drop in these hedging languages, you automatically downplay the confidence in that.
Yeah.
Anytime that you want to show confidence, your word choice matters in terms of don't use what we talked about, possibly, slightly, maybe. It's like, we think we could possibly finish this project by May. They said, we're going to finish this project by May. Okay. Confidence, they believe in what they can do. They're like, could possibly finish by May?
What do you mean possibly?
Yeah, the first question in your mind is like, possibly?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Yeah, it's sort of a problem. It's like, what do you mean sort of? Anytime someone uses it's sort of a problem, your first thing is like, it must be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. 所以不只是不要用这些我们的 hedging language， 在我们选字的时候也非常的重要。那刚刚 Nick 有提到几次，就是我们有3个 example， 那很多人尤其是可能英语是第二语言的话，有的时候不太确定这是什么不同。So let's say you want to say 我们一定会成功。Do you say we should be okay？ 还是说 we will be okay？ 还是说 we're going to be okay？Right? 应该很马上就可以听得出来哪一个是比较有确定性的吧。Yeah. So it's like we should be okay. It's like, what do you mean we should be okay?
Yeah, anytime you use should be in front. It's like, we should succeed. It drops that confidence. The translation is correct, but even using like, we will succeed or we're going to succeed. There's even just levels of confidence in that. So if someone's like, oh my gosh, is it going to be okay? Be like, it should be okay.
没错，所以真的这个时候啊，虽然这个字就差了一点点，差了这个字，但是它整个感觉是不一样的。
So your word choice matters a lot in this instance if you want to show confidence or again be inspiring. A lot of times when you're training to get on a stage, give a presentation, talk about a project, you may have hesitations. And we're not saying, don't, be confident, lie on stage. You worked for Adam Newman and Elizabeth Holmes, you'll be fine. What we're saying is, if there are instances where you want to inspire confidence or you want to get someone's sign off, really avoiding that hedging language will help create a feeling of, okay, I'm going to get this done. This is going to happen. The moment you start throwing hedging language in a presentation, you're going to start getting questions all around your belief, not in the practicality of the project. So when you get on that stage, really try and avoid. If anyone has watched The Dropout on Disney Plus about Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, again, I'm not advocating what she does is right, but you will see her language change as she, quote unquote, matures. When she's very early on studying her company, she uses a lot of hedging language like, oh, this could possibly change the future, or it might be a whole new path. To later, she's very, this is going to change everything. We are going to change the world. It's very direct, and she drops that hedging language, and that's a way that they show her confidence change over time.
Yeah. 所以今天我们这个单元呢，其实就是让大家去思考一下，这个 hedging language 在你生活当中，在你沟通当中，它其实占的地位非常的重要。那你可以去思考一下，我们要怎么去使用。那可能大家的工作都不太一样，那需要用到这情况也都不是非常相同。所以我觉得可以去尝试用不一样的方式，你可能会得到的蛮意想不到的结果。
Well, we really hope that this possibly made a difference and it sort of makes you rethink how hedging language works. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.